Welcome, race fans, to the ISM Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. I'm joined tonight, as always, by Brendan Elzoff. And Brendan, it's the Cup cars tonight in the BA Graphix Cup Series here in the NMNTS. And boy, I've heard all afternoon from these drivers that this is going to be one heck of a slippery racetrack when these guys get racing. And you can see it right there as we're watching Clayton Kurtz qualify real sideways out of turn 4. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, as we wait for qualifying to conclude, still some more cars on the track. Mark Broderick, one of those, in the 32 car. Actually, he hits the wall pretty hard. Mike Bruno, looks like I'm actually having an issue watching Mike Bruno's car, so that's interesting. Unless he is actually stopped on the speedway. That is a possibility, I suppose. Looks like he is stopped on the speedway, so that's interesting. Zach Lindgren finishing up his laps. Joseph Andujar as well. So, Brennan, these guys are going to be real loose, as we can already see all night long. Over-under on, I guess, incidents, maybe getting out of these corners.
I don't know. That's gonna be a lot, though. It's completely different animals we kind of go over every week with moving between the trucks and these, and usually the weather's a lot different, and it looks like it is again here. About 90 degrees for the track temp compared to the mid 70s last night, and much more difficult car to drive as well.
Yeah, not to mention, just the difference, even if the temperatures were the same, at least in the air, just the difference of being out in the sun for today's race rather than under the lights last night is going to change this track a ton. But, I mean, you're totally on point right there with the temperatures being different, these cars being so much different to drive because there's very little rear spoiler on these cars, very little front splitters. So, as opposed to the truck, I think you make probably in the thousands, as far as a difference in downforce, probably thousands of pounds between the two. So this really is just a wild beast for these guys to handle at Phoenix International, or sorry, ISM Raceway, as it is now known. Well, as I look around for more cars on the track, it looks like Brandon Parsons, the newcomer to this series, is on the racetrack. You can see this paint scheme is clearly a nod to Kyle Larson. As he comes around to complete his time, he'll go to 26th. I'm not sure if there's anyone left on the track. Jason Alexander isn't on the track. Craig Lerman actually is, so we can watch the 43 come around to complete his qualifying attempt. Looks like he actually may be going for a back of the run, or back of the pack run here, just kind of cruising around the speedway, putting a qualifying time down, but not risking the car, not risking anything. I think that's all that we've got left to watch, which means we should be able to go to interviews here in a moment. Well, with that said, I think Tyler Justice is going to pretty safely lock up the pole for tonight at ISM Raceway, so we'll bring him on up. Tyler Justice, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Tyler, we didn't even get a chance to speak with you last night in the truck series here at ISM. How's that cup car feeling?
It's loose for sure, but hopefully we can figure that out and not make too many mistakes tonight. But it's a really slick track out there. Just gotta watch your moves and don't try to throw the car around like you can the truck. You just gotta be real patient and real easy going with this cup car, with it being so loose out here tonight. So hopefully we can do that and maybe pull into victory lane.
10-4 on that. You're looking pretty good so far. Got a pretty decent pole time over your teammate Jared Beasley, and then the 18 of Bradley Wilson. So obviously you're doing something right in that number 7. Again, didn't get a chance to talk to you. Was it just an off night last night or what?
Yeah, we kind of missed it last night. It was just real difficult to get track position. It seemed like once we got going green last night that you just kind of settle in and it was hard to catch and pass people. I don't know what it was, but we were able to string out a 4th place finish there, which I was happy about. So we'll just go on from there and continue on to next week.
Sounds good. And, we're going to Auto Club Speedway next week after this race here in Avondale. Do you have any kind of thoughts moving forward to the 2-mile Speedway in Southern California next week? Do you have any expectations, any concerns maybe?
Maybe a little bit of concern because I haven't. That's one of the tracks that I haven't really raced at a whole lot. So I'm gonna be anxious to get there and figure out what we got, just to see where we stack up against the rest of the field. But I think we'll be all right. Just gotta get there and see what happens, and maybe we can do well there.
Well, sounds good, man. Seems like you've got everything down. Maybe with a little bit of concern going to Fontana next week, but we have to go through Avondale first at ISM Raceway. So best of luck to you tonight. You're starting from the pole, and last night's pole sitter won. So that's certainly got to give you a little bit of a peace of mind, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's kind of hard to keep up front in these races. Just gotta manage your track position real well and manage the strategy of the stages and everything. I know people are gonna have a lot of different things they're gonna do with these stages implemented into this race. So we'll just see what happens. Maybe we can stay up front.
Sounds good. And actually, one more thing before we let you go. They talked about it all weekend in the Real NASCAR broadcast on Fox, and I figure it's a pretty good talking point here as well. This track is getting reconfigured over the summer. Now, we have no clue when it'll actually hit the service, the new ISM Raceway with the start-finish line out of Turn 2, or at least what we currently call Turn 2. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's the right move? And do you hope, or are you looking forward to getting a chance to possibly run on it when we come back here in November?
I don't know. We'll see when that happens, but I really don't know what all the details are of the reconfiguration, so I don't really know yet. But I think it'll be all right, and maybe we can get a lot of practice time on it before we actually go racing there. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll take it from there when that comes around.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck to you tonight in that number 7. We'll let you go. And yeah, hopefully we're talking to you later on.
All right, appreciate it.
And again, that was your pole sitter, Tyler Justice, in that number 7 from Evil Outlaw Motorsports. Brendan, we saw Jared Mogard win from the pole last night in the SimSpec Championship Series in the NASCAR trucks. Do you think he maybe has, just from the drop of the green flag, one of the best chances to get this win?
Well, overall, he's kind of one of the better drivers out of the series here, especially in the Cup cars. So I think he's definitely got a good opportunity at it. Although he brought up a very valid point. It's kind of hard to maintain the lead all night, and we saw a little bit of that last night as well with some strategies from other guys playing out with the pit stops. So we'll just have to see everything, how the cards play, I guess. This is a great way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean you're perfectly right, and he was too. With it's really hard to hold the lead at the current ISM Raceway, where you've got that big gaping apron down the back straightaway, because that's just it's such a hard piece of track to control. You can at least control, you know, the other ends of the speedway and down the front straightaway, but it's really hard to actually control your fate down the back here. And even if you're just trying to play it safe and run, you know, on the normal dogleg above the yellow line, you are definitely at risk to get taken out. We saw it last night. I believe it was with the oh gosh, I'm blanking on who it was, but there was definitely a couple of trucks that had an incident like that last night. And then a couple of nights ago in the Super Series race here, we saw an incident with Kenneth Yance and I think it was Alan Westman, where I believe it was Ken that just didn't want to go to the apron at a turn two. Alan did, or Alan wanted to go low or whatever, something like that. Either way, it was miscommunication. One driver wanted to go to the apron, the other driver didn't. And even that, even just trying to play it safe, can sometimes land you in the outside wall right through the dog leg. So it's a tough game to play here at the former Phoenix International Raceway, now ISM Raceway. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how these guys do tonight, because these cards are real loose. You might not want to always go down to the apron, but when somebody does, if they're on your outside, that could be trouble.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a big one to pay attention to, and I think it's all back of the head of a lot of drivers out here is, you know, how they take the dog leg and kind of some spatial awareness of everybody else around them. So it's definitely going to be like key feature of the race tonight.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of the biggest things to kind of keep an eye on tonight as we go into this race, because the last two nights you could easily go down to the apron and keep control of whatever you were driving, whereas tonight these cup cars are just they're way different when it comes to taking that back straightaway apron. So cutting the dog leg tonight might not be the way to go. We'll see exactly how these guys manage with it, but I believe these guys are now gritting up. So Brendan, I'll let you lead us in our top 10.
Alrighty. Talked with him earlier. Tyler Justice with the pole tonight. Jared Beasley will be starting outside of him in second place. Row number 2 is going to start with Bradley Wilson on the inside. Christopher Matthews in his outside. That'll be third and fourth. Fifth and sixth for row 3 will be Ryan Broderick on the inside. Mike Bruno to his outside. Row number 4 is going to start with Michael Redding on the inside in seventh. Spence Thompson in eighth. Will be to the outside. Ninth will be, or the fifth row, excuse me. Ninth will be Anthony Colantuono. Excuse me if I'm getting that one wrong. 10th of Corey Walters. And my iRacing crashed, so I'll be back.
Yeah, I don't even want to try that name, Anthony. I think it's Colantuono. It kind of looks right to me, but he's starting in ninth, like you mentioned, Brennan. Moving on to row number 6, we'll have Zach Lindgren in the number 85 and 11th. Craig Lerman to his outside in 12th. On the inside of row number 7, we'll have Jason Burgess, followed up by Matthew McMeekin to his outside. Jason Alexander on the inside of row number 8. Jimmy McKee, rather, to the outside of row number 8. In 17th, we'll have Derek Robinson. 18th is Terry Mason. 19th, we'll have Trevor Harmon. Gordon Larson Jr. will round out your top 20 here at ISM Raceway. Moving on, we've got Cody Spiker, Jared Rashawn, Jerry Glenn, Ken Yance, Joseph Anduar, Brandon Parsons, a newcomer, John Barron, Alan Westman, and Clayton Kurtz to round out your field here, again, from the ISM Speedway. ISM Raceway, sorry. And as we wait for these guys to get ready and go ahead and roll off the grid, Evil Outlaw Motorsports controlling the front of this race pretty much. First, second, fifth, and sixth. Pretty good deal for those guys at the start of this race. Again, Brennan did have his iRacing crash on him, and iRacing has been having a few issues, but we'll do our best to work with it and pretty much just, do our best. We had some issues last night as well. And just got to bear with us. Do apologize for any issues that we may have. But any issues that we do have, we'll try and get worked out immediately, or at least as quickly as we can. As these guys roll into turns 3 and 4, we'll wait for the green flag. Tyler Justice has to wait on the green flag from iRacing, as does the rest of the field. And the green flag is finally out. Jared Beasley actually may have jumped that restart a little bit. I think he may have fired off a little bit early. He did give the spot back. He's going to back up and let the 7 have the lead back into turns 1 and 2, so he at least gave up any advantage he may have had. But you still have to wonder if he might get a restart violation from the race control. It's certainly a possibility given the start that we just had. Tyler Justice going to lead lap 1 out of turn 4. Jared Beasley right behind him, and caution already out.
Big time for the 75 in the wall. I just caught it while I was loading in. The whole front clip is missing on that car already.
Really unfortunate to see for Terry Mason. Definitely not what he wanted. That's not what you want as a driver by any means, to, you know, lap 1 have these kinds of issues as the 75 just did. But we'll go back, get a fair look at it. Oh, it looked like there was a checkup ahead of him, and there just wasn't the communication for Terry to know what was going on and get backed up. Are you seeing the same thing?
I just have the incident. It's just how I loaded into it. I can't see anything further back. I just saw it right when he hit it.
Okay, I got you. So I'll try and walk you through what happens here on the back straightaway. It looked like Jimmy McKee almost got into Trevor Harmon on the outside and started to back off. And after that, Terry Mason just had nowhere to go but into the back of Jimmy McKee in the number 8. He slid to the inside line. The contact was made with Jerry Glenn and Jimmy McKee. Jerry Glenn was out of control, came back up the track in front of Terry Mason, and Terry just had nowhere to go once again. We'll try and get a view from his onboard this time. And it did switch drivers on me. Let me get back to Terry. So you'll see this all happen right ahead of him. You see just the little bit of contact there almost from the 8 to the 27, and then just clipped Jerry Glenn, and Jerry Glenn came right back down the track in front of Terry Mason. Nowhere for Terry to go at that point. And as Brennan mentioned right when he came back in, no front clip left on that number 75, unfortunately. It's really, really unfortunate to see for him. Well, even though we only got one green flag lap of racing, these guys have come in for some tires further back in the field, trying to just make sure they have the freshest tires they can, and maybe fuel to go the whole way in case this does go green from here. I actually forgot to check on the stage lengths, so my apologies there. I'm not sure on exactly how long these stages will be.
The Monday night's usually longer stages and then the short one at the end, and then Tuesday night's usually short than a long one. So I don't know an exact lap number either, but I don't think it'll be too long of a stage here.
No, that's exactly right. And I would imagine probably 30, 40 lap stages to start this race off, and then to go from there. Even if, you know, we get 2 40 lap stages, it would still be a pretty lengthy third stage at almost 80 laps. So we'll see exactly what these guys do. I'm not totally certain on when the stage breaks will come out. I may be able to contact someone. Actually, I don't see him in TeamSpeak, so I won't be able to. But hopefully we can hang on, just, you know, and see what happens. Up in the front, these guys are getting doubled up for the restart. Tyler Justice still in first. Jared Beasley in second. He did not get called for a restart violation on the initial start of the race, so he will be safe. Bradley Wilson still in third. Christopher Matthews still in fourth. Mark Broderick in fifth.
Thing to point out for Mark almost is last couple of races we've seen him try and start from the back of the field, so interesting to see him up front this time around.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting to see the 32 up in the front already. We haven't seen that, like you said, for a few weeks. He's been a little bit quieter than normal. As these guys come out of turn 4, Tyler Justice in control. Waiting, waiting. Hasn't gone yet. Actually, he waited a real
Jared
long
went.
time. Yeah, Jared just launched. And Brennan, I'm not sure how they're going to call that, because if they waited all the way until the iRacing green flag, it's just like in NASCAR, where the iRacing green flag will start the race no matter what. So if Tyler waited all the way until that green flag, Jared may not be in any kind of deep water here, but if he went before the green flag, he definitely went earlier than Tyler Justice. We'll have to see what happens. I really don't know how that one's going to go.
Yeah, I have the radio keyed up right now. Jared got his black flag cleared for it, it looked like, so I'm gonna say everything was good? Or maybe that black flag was for the last one.
You know, I'm
But,
not sure. I might be able to check the events. Yeah, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how to really call that, unfortunately.
well, no, don't see him in pit lane yet, and I think he would have been penalized for it by now, so I think he's in the clear.
Yeah, I think they'll allow him to keep that restart, which is a bit interesting to me. I thought maybe that was an illegal restart. I mean, he's given that spot back to Tyler Justice already, and so that might have been what Race Control wanted him to do. I don't know. You said you didn't hear them key up?
Yeah, nothing yet. Robbie just keyed up, but I don't think they're worried about the restart here. It's regular race stuff, so.
All right, well, duly noted. No restart violation for Jared Beasley on either of those two starts. You will notice, you can see these guys starting to have little woes, I guess, with their connections. If it gets any worse from here, I will go ahead and relog just like last night. We'll go to a long commercial break. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse and we can just hang in here. But if it does get bad, we will get it fixed just like last night's event. Looks like iRacing just doesn't want to cooperate much anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't.
Was that the 00 spinning? Yeah, the 00. Gordon Larson Jr. spun to the inside of turn 2. Got back going. I'm not sure what happened. They were blinking, so I couldn't really get a good look. Well, Tyler Justice is your leader. I'm going to go ahead and take this chance to relog because I'm having some issues. So I'm just going to be proactive about this. We'll cut to a commercial break. We'll be back as soon as we can. Again, just trying to be proactive and keep any issues from happening. And yeah, just hang with us here at Pit Stop TV. We'll be back as soon as we can.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible. I think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMary at the line.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, race fans, to the ISM Raceway. Had some issues. We're getting it back under control. Only 23 laps into the race. On the restart, Michael Redding decided to stay out. Restart in the first position. Didn't go so well. Hit the wall the first lap around, and now he's getting loose. So we're going to keep our eyes on this battle. Corey Walters coming by. I'm going to make sure he has plenty of room. Here comes Zach Lindgren, now going to take advantage of it. Then it'll be his teammate Jared Beasley, followed by Craig Lerman. Ladies and gentlemen, out in the chat, make sure you let us know who you think will win. I think we forgot to make picks today, but that's all right. But just let us know who you think will end up winning this race after 156 laps. Again, these races are set up to be half of the full NASCAR Cup Series race lengths. And as you can see, the 03 falling further and further and further back. Not doing so well right now if you're Michael Redding. Unfortunately, just looks like that no tire call, staying out on these tires wasn't the greatest idea. But, you know, it could work out, actually. The reason I say it could work out later in the race is because you can wear more rubber into the track and actually give yourself a bit of a better racing surface to do that on. So I think it was a bit of an early move, but I think actually in these Cup cars it could work out later, staying out on the old tires. So I don't want to just completely criticize him here. I think it actually could be a decent move later in the race, just not so much here. And oh, actually a big checkup. Craig Lerman almost gets into him. You saw his teammate Jared Beasley come out of turn 2 a little bit slow ahead of him, and Michael had to really get on the binders, and then so did Craig Lerman, but they all figured it out. And actually Cody Spiker right behind this battle, bringing Matthew Meekin and Trevor Harmon with him. Brendan had another issue with iRacing, so we're just going to leave it at that. And we're going to go through the field a little bit. You can see Jimmy McKee trying to get back into things. Remember, he was in an incident earlier on with Terry Mason. Christopher Matthews running in the 17th position. Jason Burgess, I believe, was involved in a caution while we were away. That's why you see all the damage to the 23. Brandon Parsons making his first start in the series. Currently running 20th in the 42. Clayton Kurtz, I believe, also running with a decent bit of damage. You can see quite a bit of right rear and right front damage to that car. Could just be from getting into the wall. Gordon Larson Jr. with a lot of front end damage as well. And John Barron with a ton of damage to his car. Back up to the front, though, Tyler Justice is in control. And he has... So we'll try and find the 15. Seems like these guys are having issues just keeping on these tires. We'll even get a replay of this one here in a moment. Take a look here what happened to the 15. You can see him bobble out of 2, just get right into the fence. He's definitely not having the greatest night tonight in the number 15 JB Paints Chevrolet SS. You can see he's letting more drivers by here. Christopher Matthews, Terry Mason going by. Back up to the front, though, as I was saying, Tyler Justice with almost a second over his teammate Mike Bruno. It's not quite a second, actually, just yet, but it's still a pretty big lead. Oh, and actually, oh, sorry. Whew. I thought they were going into turn 3, and I see Tyler Justice go up the track, and that definitely messed with my mind a little bit, so apologies there. So these guys raced right by lap 31, Brennan, which tells me they may be going to lap 35 or possibly lap 40 until the stage break. So that actually could also be another reason that Michael Redding stayed out, to try and get some points before the stage break. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work out for him. Well, actually, it would pay out for him a little bit right now, considering he would get a point if he was to stay ahead of Trevor Harmon when the stage break comes out. Again, we don't know exactly when it will come, but at least we know when the first one comes. Just add however many laps we ran to get there, and that will be when the second stage ends. We can at least figure out when the second stage ends. But we have to wait, kind of play the waiting game on the first one. But again, Michael Wrighting actually would get a point here at the end of the stage, but it's still kind of risk versus reward, and I don't think the reward's very high. And now with Trevor Harmon going by him, I mean, he's still fighting back, doing a valiant effort at that. Trevor Harmon getting by him basically nullifies any advantage he would have gained, because now he doesn't get any stage points. If he can get back by the 27, he might be able to, you know, justify that move. But right now, it's not paying off for the driver of the 03. So we got no caution at the completion of lap 35 either, which tells me we're probably running till lap 40, in just as my guess, and then 76 laps from there. So we'll see when this comes out. Again, we're playing the waiting game. There were a few issues before the race. It just we didn't get the information. It's nobody's fault, really. Just, you know, working with the new iRacing build that unfortunately is negatively affecting a lot of drivers out there, broadcasters as well. Obviously, is, you know, tonight we took our second early race commercial break for way too long trying to fix iRacing. So yeah, I mean, that's just a testament as to the issues that everybody's having with the service. So it's not any one person's fault or any even one group's fault. It's just, you know, trying to work with it. Right now, Spence Thompson in a pretty decent position, at least to try and run down the 19 of Mike Bruno. Hasn't done so just yet. We've been watching this battle for a little bit here, Brennan. But that 89 looking pretty decent at the very least. What do you have for us on him? Yeah, I would guess we'll probably get the stage caution this time around, as Tyler Justice just took the go-ahead for lap 40. Again, I don't want to speculate too much, but this is when I would guess it would come out. And whenever it does come out, we're going to take a commercial break actually under the caution, rather than talking with the stage winner, just to correct a couple of things on our end, because that issue with having to relog did mess up a couple of things, but we'll try and fix it then. No caution out. Yeah, there it is. As soon as I say something, we get the caution. So I think that was a pretty decent guess on my end to guess lap 40. So yeah, lap 40 stage break. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back as soon as we can. There are a couple of things we have to do. Yeah, just on my end with the relog as the producer for it. I just got to fix a couple of things, and we'll be right back.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com. Simulated race.
Welcome back, finally, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. Was just trying to get a couple of things worked out before we got back to Green Flag Racing. But we just had the restart. Mike Bruno currently is your leader, right ahead of his teammate Tyler Justice. These guys are nose to tail up in the front. Now Zach Lindgren looking to get into the battle. He's looking to the inside of his teammate, Spence Thompson, for the third position.
Getting cleared there.
And just behind Spence now, as he drops back into fourth, is their other teammate, their actual team owner, Bradley Wilson, currently in fifth. A good rebound from last night's race. Running in the fifth position, looking for more. He does have some front-end damage, and he was up into the top 3 at one point. But still a pretty decent rebound to be running top 5, given the issues he had last night in the trucks. But a pretty good start to tonight so far. We're only 50 laps in, but that number 18 looking decent. Another driver I noticed doing decently well would be Cody Spikers. He rolls by the first timer, actually, Anthony Colantuono, I think. Colantuono, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that. It's a tough one, I'll give you that much. But these guys, a couple of pretty new names. Well, actually, Cody Spiker loose out of turn 4, hangs onto it. What a save. These guys are a couple of newbies to the NMNTS Racing Series, and We saw Cody's first start in anything but the Cup Series last night in the Truck Series and actually gets into the wall now out of turn 2. He's having some issues. Anthony, a first-timer in every respect, coming into tonight. I'd say they're doing pretty well, Brendan.
Yeah, I think you might be a little bit behind her.
You know what it was. Thanks for catching that one.
I was trying to, he was like turn 2, and I was like, they're already down the back stretch, or past the dog leg, and then I was like,
Yeah, I didn't even realize I was, so thank you for that one. Let's see, a little further back, Trevor Harmon just safely inside the top 10. Jimmy McKee battling with Christopher Matthews. That would be for the 11th position, so a pretty decent night given the circumstances for the 8 car. Michael Redding sideways out of turn 2. What a save. That's his dirt track experience kicking in a little bit.
Yeah.
Jared Wishon having a pretty quiet night, currently in the 14th position. No sponsors on the hood or the sides of that car. He's got a few small associate sponsors, but if you want to sponsor this kid, get in contact, I believe, for this series with WFO Motorsports. I guarantee you Jared would really appreciate the help. He's the only unsponsored car that I see towards the front. Oh, Jared Beasley sideways into the corner, right behind Jared Wishon. Pretty good save there as well as Ken Yance gets to work on him. What else are you seeing further back in this field, Brendan?
Trevor Harmon and the 92 Christopher Matthews battling it out down the back stretch. Be for 10th.
Yeah, the 27 of Trevor Harmon, an Arizona native to actually Fort Mojave. That's up in the tri-state area, a little south of Las Vegas. So, a home race for Trevor. Didn't really get the night he wanted in the Truck Series last night, or the night before in the Super Series, in the Super Late Models here at Phoenix. But starting to rebound, looks like he could have a 10th place finish on hand. But it's still really early. We still have 100 laps to go. Can you believe it? A little further back, we just switched to Jason Burgess. Saw him get into the wall out of turn 2. Just trying to look for some more battles throughout the field. Brandon Parsons quite a ways off the pace, actually. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's got a lot of left front damage. Back to the lead, Tyler Justice now into P1. I believe Mike Bruno had the lead last time we were up in the front of the field. Zach Lindgren now going to work on the new, or no, sorry, Massachusetts, I believe, native of Mike Bruno. Oh, and Spence Thompson wrecking down the back straightaway. We will, of course, get a replay on what happened here to Spence Thompson. He's got a lot of left front damage. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. I didn't get a chance to really look at it. I kind of noticed it, didn't know if he was going to save it or not. And so I chose to just stay on the 85 for a second and then switch back. But again, this is the 89 of Spence Thompson out of turn 2. Watch him get loose, I believe. Yeah, just comes right around like you said. So a rough night now for Spence Thompson. He was doing so well up until here. You'll see him just get loose, and he tried saving it, was trying, but these cars are already loose by nature, and he just gets into the inside wall.
Leave everybody that's on the lead lap down in pit lane.
We'll see Zach Lindgren pull into his stall, Craig Lerman, Corey Walters, and more, Bradley Wilson, Mike Bruno, Tyler Justice with the first pit stall, actually the last pit stall, depending on how you want to look at it. We'll wait for the jack to drop on the number 7 to let him exit the pit lane. We'll see exactly who wins the race off pit lane. It's going to be Mike Bruno, actually, I think. We'll see what happens. Mike Bruno may have had Tyler beat. Although based on the way that Tyler just spun away from the pits, I think it may have been the 7. Well, I'm going to tidy things up once more, waiting for this restart, so we will be right back one more time. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Just stick with us here at Pit Stop TV. Give us about a couple minutes, we'll be right back with the restart.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time, we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here.
So here we are in northern New Hampshire, where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133, and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo wrap.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. We came back just in time for the restart here from ISM. Tyler Justice in control. We'll try and get to talk to him under the next caution if we get the chance, as he was your stage number 1 winner. Michael Redding actually back into the top 3. So this will be an interesting one to cover. We know he came in, got tires this time, so he's not on super old tires. That's definitely a plus. As these guys come out of turn 4, Tyler Justice on the loud pedal, off and away. Pretty decent lead into turn number 1. Zach Lindgren actually clears the 3rd place Michael Redding for 3rd, going through turns 1 and 2. Michael drops to 4th. Now the 85 on the attack of the number 19.
Yeah. Yellow.
Caution out in the back. I believe this was to do with the 23 of Jason Burgess. He's got a lot more damage and is slow on the back straightaway. Actually, now into turn 4. So we'll go ahead and get a look at what happens to the driver of the 23.
Oh. Perry Mason with the lucky break there.
As we're watching Jason Burgess here out of turn number 2. Just got loose out of the dogleg. Into the wall hard. Oh gosh, that was a huge hit.
Did you see how close Terry Mason was there to almost getting collected in that one as well?
Yeah, that's something I want to look at again. Wow, that was a really hard hit.
Yeah.
Watch Terry Mason here on the bottom side. Yeah, that was really close. That could have been really bad for Terry. He's already had a pretty rough start to his race, and that could have been even worse. Well, that should give us a chance to bring in our pole sitter and stage 1 winner, Tyler Justice. We're a little behind on this one. Apologies for that. We'll go ahead and get him in here. Tyler Justice, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, Tyler, unfortunately, we missed you a little bit ago at the end of stage number 1, but you started on pole. You've led 53 of 65 laps. Something's going right. How's it going so far?
It's going pretty well. We still got the lead, so that's a plus. But yeah, it's real slick out here, like I said earlier. But had a couple big moments coming off of turn 4 a few times, getting real loose, but we were able to save it. That seems to be the most tricky spot, is coming off turn 4. Turns 1 and 2 seem all right, but turns 3 and 4 is a little tricky getting in and coming off. So we'll have to watch for that real carefully and stay up front, and maybe we can pull off a win.
Sounds good, man. I mean, it looks like you're at least on your way to a win, possibly. Doing really good in the number 7. But you have Mike Bruno, Zach Lindgren, and others right on your back bumper. You talked about it at the top of the show when we brought you in for the pole interview. It's hard to keep these guys behind you when you're the leader. So, what's your game plan here on these next couple of restarts to keep these guys behind you when we only have, I think, less than 20 laps now to the end of stage number 2?
Well, yeah, like you said, with less than 20 laps going to the second stage, you probably just want to try to get out to a good lead and just hammer down and get to the end of the stage. But after that, you just got to try to maintain your tires like always and see what happens with that. And I know Mike is fast, Zach is fast. We got Bradley back there. He'll probably be up here before it's all said and done. So just have to watch these guys and see what they do and just manage from there. And hopefully we can stay up front.
Sounds good. Well, as you guys get ready to double up for the restart, I'll let you go. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, though, real quick, for supporting that 7 car?
Yes, sir. I want to give a shout out to SimSpec as always. John and Ken, they do a great job with all this. And I want to give a shout out to all my teammates and want to thank Bradley for the league. And I want to thank you guys in booth.
Sounds good, and thank you, man. Best of luck on that number 7 going forward.
All right, appreciate it.
That was the driver of the 7. Again, another pretty good interview from him, Brennan. We talked to him earlier on, but I think that was another pretty spot-on interview, just trying to hang on to the lead with the end of the stage coming. Do you think he's got what it takes to win stage number 2 as well?
I definitely think he's got a great opportunity for it. He's kind of, put on a little bit of a show, not really quite the dominating performances, although I don't think this track really leads to it. Pace car pulling in, though. Sit back a little bit, right away we go now. Good start for him and his teammate Mike Bruno on the outside. Zach Lindgren and Michael Redding linger on a little bit. Zach Lindgren right up to Bruno again, though, like we saw right before the caution.
I'd say Tyler has had a somewhat dominating performance, at least in terms of laps led. But you're totally right in that he hasn't just pulled away from the field. Even on this restart here, Tyler Justice has a pretty decent lead, but hasn't totally left Mike Bruno in the dust just yet. Mike Bruno's still within striking distance if the 7 makes any kind of mistake, so, he sounds decently confident, but he sounded... Oh, actually, Michael Redding around.
Big time list. You gonna keep it off the wall, though?
Wow.
Good move.
Another crazy save out of the driver out of Batesville. Batesville, Arkansas, that is. One heck of a drive from that 03. That was a really good save.
Yeah.
Back forward a bit. Bradley Wilson working on 4th position, trying to get by the number 98. The 98 making his first start. Again, that's Anthony Coantuono, I think is how you say that. Yeah, apologies if we're butchering your last name, Anthony, but doing pretty good, actually. Was just inside, actually is still inside the top 5, battling with Bradley Wilson and Craig Lerman. So he's in an interesting position. Definitely got some big names to work with here in the NMNTS, and I think he's handling it pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you can go out your first performance and be up to 5th place. He started 9th, so even a top 10 from the get-go of the race, that's a pretty great performance. It really shows everybody else around you really mean business.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. He's doing pretty good in that number 98. Got A&W on the hood. And, yeah, just I'm kind of surprised, actually. Brand new name. Not always sure how they're going to do when they come into the league. And he actually just went right back by Bradley Wilson. So, seems like that 98 is pretty hooked up. A little further back, Cody Spiker trying to hang on to the 8th position, or 7th position actually, trying to stay in front of Corey Walters. Battling back on the top side, gets close to that wall, doesn't quite hit it. Sorry. Mark
No, right
McBride,
up ahead, contact though.
what cars?
43 and Craig Lerman and the 18 of Bradley Wilson right ahead of him there after the dog leg. Door-to-door contact there.
We'll see how that one shapes up. Bradley is definitely one of those guys that won't take any kind of contact lightly. He'll definitely give it right back to you. So we'll see what Brad does. He definitely stands up for himself, but he is a little too far behind to really do anything with Craig Lerman. I think he'll back off for now. Smart decision on Bradley's part to kind of just keep that car.
3 wide
he's
here
coming
almost.
back.
Oh, and he made contact that time.
A big wreck down the front straight away. Corey Walters with huge damage. Craig Lerman as well. Oh, Corey just got the 69. I think John escaped with minimal damage, if any, but Corey Walters backed up a little too far, caught the left side of the 69 of John Barron. We'll see what happens on this replay. Don't want to call anything prematurely because, you know, any number of things could happen with how loose these guys come out of the corners. We'll go back and get a look at things. Again, this all started with the 18 and the 43, Bradley Wilson and Craig Lerman. So watch these two as they exit turn 4 here in a moment. You see the 43 one runs real wide, and this is where you were calling them 3 wide. A little bit of contact, and yeah, just sends the 43 right around.
Race official saying we're going to have a 1 to green before, or a 1 lap shootout for the stage break here.
We're going to get one more replay here on this wreck. I want to go back and get the onboard from Corey Walters as he was kind of left with nowhere to go. So again, this is from the 28. He was just behind this battle, and as this happens up ahead, just nowhere for him to go other than right into the door of the 43, and huge, huge contact. Although, you know, I kind of expected that one to be bigger, so that was pretty minimal for how big that could have been out of turn number 4. So that's definitely good that no more drivers were collected in that. And just as we did last week at Las Vegas, if Tyler Justice ends up winning stage number 2 here tonight, we're going to go ahead and talk with somebody else. So if you are out in the chat, no matter what platform you're on, let us know who you might want to talk to. They can be anybody out in this field, sorry. And we'll go ahead and we'll get a chance to talk to them. So Scott Andrea is trying to help us with the pronunciation of the driver of the 98. Consuano, maybe. It's an interesting one. Again, it's an interesting name. One that I haven't seen a spelling anything close to ever. So apologies for getting that wrong. Let's see, we got Melanie and John asking to talk to Bradley Wilson. Matt Dickerson asking to talk to Anthony. I'm not sure Anthony is actually in the team speak. We had somebody ask to talk to Michael Redding. Well, we'll go ahead and let this restart happen as it may. Tyler Justice in control as we come around turns 3 and 4. And, you know, pretty solidly probably has the best chance to take the stage win here. As long as he doesn't make a mistake out of turn 2 or into turn 3, I think he should have it. But, you know, even with this restart advantage he'll probably have, Mike Bruno will still be in the zip code, I'd imagine. Tyler Justice off and away already. Zach Lindgren, he got a pretty good restart. He'll hang pretty much with these guys, but only one lap to do something is not going to work out too well for anybody behind Tyler. Mike Bruno gets loose on the bottom side, going to hold the 85 up.
Wilson's going to clear the 98 for 4th. So going to turn 3. Zach Lindgren, though, up ahead, going to try and muscle his way around the outside. I don't think he's quite going to have it, though. Stage 2 winners will be Tyler Justice.
So Tyler Justice going to come home with 2 stage wins tonight. Now all he has to do is close out on the final stage of the race. He has 70-some laps to do it. He's led 69 of them so far, so a great start, at least so far, from the driver of the number 7 from Odenville, Alabama. Just what a heck of a run so far for Tyler. This is the Tyler Justice we're used to. Granted, he's not getting those big leads. That could just be part of the cut package here at Phoenix, or ISM as it's now known. So it may not be totally uncharacteristic of him at all, Brennan. You know, you and I both noted it's a bit odd to not have him go out there and gaining these huge leads, but you never know. It could just be the package.
Yeah, definitely. Phoenix, I mean, kind of mentioned a hit on it a little bit last night. It's a lot more technical so far than what we've seen through the series. So, although I think Tyler really is a pretty good driver through and through, though. So it is kind of interesting to see him, you know, not in his own zip code, as we have kind of coined the term for him.
Yeah, it is definitely odd to not see him getting huge leads. By far, though, in the chat, I'll check YouTube real quick, but at least on Facebook, the favorite to talk to under this stage break is Bradley Wilson. We'll give it a moment before solidifying on any one driver. That is if I can open YouTube up. There we go. So, looks like we don't have any comments over on Twitch. And no suggestions as far as who to talk to on YouTube. So, the Facebook favorite was Bradley Wilson. So, Brennan, if you can drag him up into the interview waiting booth, that would certainly be a help.
Alright. Alright.
Alrighty, then go ahead and bring him up when you're ready.
Peter wants to cooperate here. Alright, there we go. Hey, Brad, just burning up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy?
Do what?
Burning up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy with us?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, bud. Well, a little one-lap shootout there before the stage end there. The caution that came out there, we saw a little bit of action from you there with you in the 43. Kind of got split 3 wide there and some contact made. Any explanation on that?
Yeah, we were, me and Lehrman, we talked about it already, and we had a good race going on there. We just didn't expect to get drove in on 3 wide on the bottom there, and you know, a lot of times that won't work here. So got a little damage. It's not a whole lot of bad, but we'll have to see what we can do here.
Definitely. So we've seen you towards the top half of the field all night so far. What's making it work out there for you to keep you up front?
I mean, I've done a really good job of saving the tires right now. We were comparing tire wear with the rest of our teammates after stage 1, and we've done a real good job of saving the tires and just keeping the car under us. I always say tracks like this, it's better just race the track than the guys around you, so that's what we've been trying to focus on.
Alrighty, well, I see you guys getting filed back together here. Any sponsor, anything like that you'd like to shout out before we get you moved back down?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank Old Cane Hancock's Discount Shop Towels and my beautiful, beautiful wife at BA Graphix for making this thing look good going around here.
Alrighty, well, we'll get you moved back down. Good luck here on the restart.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Again, that was Bradley Wilson, currently in the 20th position. Fell back a little bit, think he may have had a speeding violation in the pit lane. Back up to the front, Cody Spiker in control of a restart for the first time this season. Ken Yance to his outside, Terry Mason in third. We'll wait on the call from the 22 to get green. There he goes, Cody Spiker with a big jump and a big stack up on the top side.
Line, yeah. 17 got run into the back of, but it looked like the 89 Spence Thompson there, going to collect some more front end damage for him.
Yeah, and the 7 got some damage to his nose. Zach Lindgren as well got some nose damage. 3 wide into turn 3. Jerry Glenn in the center. There. They're going to work through, I believe. Almost contact there from the 90 to the 20, but they're going to keep it green. Just barely, but yeah, Spence Thompson with a lot more front end damage on that number 89.
Yeah, they're going to keep it green and keep it 3 wide here all the way into turn 1. Spence falling back a little bit on the high side. Charlie Justice going to stick his nose in now, as well as Mike Bruno. They'll have to watch out here as they come back up the track. Going to get him cleared though.
Watching on from the 98s on board, this is just crazy on these restarts. Cody Spiker now losing the lead, it looks like. Ken Yance battling for the first position. Ken Yance has the advantage through turns 1 and 2. Ken Yance in the underfunded motorsports machine going to take the lead down the back straightaway. But here comes Alan Westman. Don't count out Clayton Kurtz on the bottom side. Cody Spiker now fighting back on the top side. This is amazing racing. Cody Spiker going to have the advantage out of 4, but here comes Ken Yance. Gets loose, actually. He's going to fall back behind Spiker. Now Clayton Kurtz to the bottom side. Oh, Alan Westman dumps the 72. Around. Oh.
Keeping it going. Oh, now he went around.
Terry Mason involved. Clayton Kurtz involved. You see Terry Mason parked on the top side. He had nowhere to go. He was just a bystander.
Alan Westman going to collect a lot more damage there out of that as well.
A lot of front-end damage on the 17. But, man, heartbreak there for Ken Yance. He'd just gotten into the lead, and we don't see him necessarily, fight his way into the lead as much as we might like to. Alan Westman has been having some decent runs, but crazy to see Ken Yance up there battling for the lead. Was doing pretty good and just got a little loose out of 4. Got collected into 1. We'll go back and, of course, get a replay on it. Really unfortunate to see for the driver of the 72. You can see they're battling out of 4. Ken's going to get a little loose, backs up a little bit. Here comes Clayton Kurtz to the bottom side. Ken had to give him room, and Alan Westman just overdrove the corner right into the back of the 72. Clayton Kurtz somehow hung on to it, and then just huge damage for Ken Yance. Terry Mason also got collected. Really unfortunate scene in turns 1 and 2. We'll watch this all one more time. We're going to watch this time from the onboard shot of the number 75, Terry Mason. Had some issues earlier on in an incident with Jimmy McKee. And then this. So, I've been calling that whole wreck, Brennan. What did you see? What was your opinion on that?
I don't really know there too much. Ken, I don't really think did too much wrong there. It's just, I think Alan Westman not completely heads up with the situation ahead there. Kind of got into the back of him. kind of got it squared away again and then hit him again there. I don't see anything really wrong for the 72.
Yeah, it almost looked to me like Alan Westman was a little too close to the back end of the 72 for his own good. And, you know, when you get behind one of these cars, the rear ends are quite large. It's not like an Indy car where you're so low to the ground and the backs of the cars are so small that you can still see your brake markers on the wall. Sometimes when you get right behind another car, another truck, in the case of Monday nights, you can't see necessarily your brake markers or, you know, how close you are to the corner. So he might have just not realized how close they were to turn number 1, but you know, nonetheless, just, I mean, that really sucks to see. He did run right plumb in the back of the 72 and then was trying, I think, to go by him when he saw him get sideways, trying to get away from the incident as quickly as he could. And then, you know, when Ken came back up, might have had another chance to save the car, but there was the 17 and, you know, just nothing either one of them could do at that point. I mean, maybe Alan could have backed off. I'm not going to deny that. But once they made contact and once he was already committed to doing that, there was nothing they could do. But, you know, the initial contact, I think, is what you have to look at there. It kind of just makes you scratch your head.
Yeah, well, anyways, we're patrolling down the backstretch here. Cody Spiker's still in command. Let's get ready to go back to green.
Yeah, Cody Spiker, I believe, stayed out under this caution along with most of the front of the field. You can see Cal Swano into the 5th position. Am I saying that right now? Scott Andreas, help me out. Or Cal Tuano. Cody Spiker waiting on the restart. Clayton Kurtz almost went. Now Cody Spiker's going to go. Clayton almost jumped that, but he did give the spot back. Now Mike Bruno go to the inside of the 90. Almost 3 wide. Oh! Contact!
Not going to get it saved. Mike Bruno lost the rear end there.
Oh, and
the 90 around, the 85 in it, and the 15,
cars
15
over
flipping.
on the lid.
Still, 69 to 42 involved, 89 to Spence Thompson. Get run into as well. Bunch of cars collected out of that one.
A ton of damage for a lot of these cars. Brandon Parsons making his first start. Oh, man. Trevor Harmon, we saw him. I think he might have got through it, actually. It looks like his car is in one piece, so he might have got real lucky. At first, I thought he got some damage. I think Corey Walters got through, but Brandon Parsons in the 42 with a ton of damage. Craig Learman already had damage. Mike Bruno tore up. Spence Thompson now even more tore up from the floor up. Jared Beasley again was up and over on his lid. Zach Lindgren with a ton of damage. Clayton Kurtz as well. Man, just a lot of cars got tore up right there. So we'll go back, get a replay as we always do. And yeah, just into one, contact from the 19 to the 90, and then just trying to miss it. All out melee. All out melee. Watch it one more time. You'll see the 19 didn't quite go down to the bottom side. And I think Clayton was assuming he would. And just, you see the effects. Really unfortunate once more. You know, more cars getting torn up. And, you know, this one, more of a racing deal. Just, you know, issues on the restart. Drivers thinking of one thing, other drivers doing another. And, you know, I don't know if you can really pin that necessarily on one driver like we did the previous one. But, Brendan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really know. I think it's just, you know, a battle for the same amount of real estate kind of there that kind of accordion infected through the field there, unfortunately.
You see just, you know, there was nowhere for these guys to go really in the back. Brendan Parsons, Spence Thompson were just trying to get locked down in the back, and they had nowhere to go. A lot of really unfortunate events right there. one onboard shot that I do want to get for everybody is going to be the onboard of the 15. I think we have to. That's just that we have to get an onboard of this. And somehow Jared Beasley was able to drive away from that once he landed back on his wheels. That was a heck of a ride. Back up at the front, though, that whole caution got taken up just by looking at replays. We'll come back for the restart. Cody Spiker still in control, but Brennan, I spy a number 7 to his outside.
Yeah, Tyler kind of slowly making his way through there. You know, back up to a great spot for him. The outside line there.
Out of
Pace
turn
cars
number...
in.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Cody Spiker away now. Tyler Justice with a pretty good jump on him as well. Anthony Qualantuno, I think, 100% up to 3rd. Christopher Matthews now back to 4th. And 5th is going to be Jerry Glenn all the way up from the 23rd starting position. So great run he's had so far tonight. We have a yellow out on the speedway.
I believe this had to do, and it does have to do with Spence Thompson. The number 89, just all out bad luck for him all night long. Issue after issue for the guy, and only him getting loose initially was his fault. And then actually their contact with an affiliated teammate, Trevor Harmon, and now Trevor Harmon going to have a ton of damage too.
43, Craig Lerman there. Another bad hit for him.
We'll get one more look here, but guys, I want you to notice this is another deal of, one driver, staying up on the track, another driver staying on the track with them, and sometimes just miscommunications, and that's all it takes. Just that little bit of contact, and really it was even net code at first, sends the 89 around, and just all out melee. On that restart, though, the Gale Toyota Camry, of Cody Spiker fell back to the 2nd position, but if he is in our team speak, he is not. That's unfortunate. I was going to figure we could talk to him, but you know who we could try talking with. Let's look through the results. I just want to check on one thing. Yeah, so Michael Redding is now back inside the top 10. We'll try and talk to him real quick. We haven't had him on the channel in a little while, so we'll try and talk with him. Michael Redding, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Well, Michael, we saw a bit of a tumultuous start for you earlier on. You actually elected to stay out, restart first, then you immediately fell back. But since then, you've been working your way back forward. How's this race gone for you?
It's going pretty good. Everything's playing in my hands right now. Kind of using the same strategy I did last night, and hopefully we'll have the same result.
Yeah, right now you're keeping that car in one piece, and I think that's what you got to do. I think we're coming to the restart here in just a moment, but real quick, actually, no, we have some time. What's your plan going forward? Only 54 laps to go when we restart.
Going to keep gradually working my way to the front. I'm not going to push it till the end. Once we get, inside of probably 15 to go, I'm fixing to come alive.
Sounds good. I mean, that 03 has looked pretty decent whenever you're up in the front, got good tires on it. Would you say, we've talked with your teammate Tyler Justice a few times. Would you say this track is, on the edge of maybe being undrivable, or is it right within your wheelhouse?
It's right into where I love it. It takes more skill than some think because it's so slick, but it's right into my hands. I love it. Reminds me of dirt.
Yeah, and we've mentioned your dirt track experience a few times as we've seen you get pretty loose at a turn too. You think you're going to get loose anymore, or you think there's enough rubber down on the track for you to keep a handle on it?
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to get loose again. It's just being able to catch it when it does it. They like to got me a while ago when we was moving in the dog leg, and I just kind of straightened her up and hammered down, and she come out of it.
Well, sounds good. Real quick before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to for that 03 car?
I just want to give a shout out to everybody on my team. We're working great. Got to give a shout out to Rock Hard Powder Coating and BA Graphix for the awesome paint scheme.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck to you on this restart and beyond. Hopefully we're talking with you later on.
All right, tip for Andrew.
And we'll get Michael moved back down there with his team as these guys get ready for the restart. I thought that was a pretty good interview from Michael there. Sounds like he's pretty confident. Brendan, do you think he's got what it takes?
I think we'll have to just sit and kind of wait here. He thinks, like he said, the last 15 laps or so, he's going to really come alive. So let's see how well that pans out for him.
As we come to the restart, Tyler Justice back in control. He launches real early, gets a really good jump in that number 7. Going to have a huge lead into turn 1. Behind him, it's Anthony Colantuano? Man, I'm getting this mixed up. And Cody Spiker battling for second. Christopher Matthews now entering the battle, and here comes Jerry Glenn. In the wall further back, I think that's Mike Bruno on the top lane. He's having issues now that we're back under green, and he's got a pretty damaged race car. Unfortunate to see him having all these issues in the number 19. Oh, 3 wide ahead.
3 wide for Jimmy McKee. Michael Redding and
oh, McMeekin going to go around.
Goes out. Pretty painless, that one, it looked like, at least.
Yeah, that one could have been worse. Given the last few cautions we've seen, that one could have been worse. We'll see what goes on here. Matthew McMeekin was battling with Jimmy McKee for a position, and they were actually just ahead of Michael Redding. So, man, that could have been pretty bad if Michael had gotten caught up in that. I think Michael actually was the one that kind of produced that situation as he went by McKee on the bottom side. He washed up into McMeekin. They made more contact out of 2 and just ends up sending the 14 around. Nobody hits him. He actually, no, Terry Mason did clip him. But it still could have been a lot worse for everybody involved there. McMeekin going to pull away with minimal damage. And, you know, given the last few wrecks, I'd say that's a kind of a win for McMeekin with how bad that could have been. Well, ladies and gentlemen, under this caution, we're going to take, hopefully, our final commercial break of the night. Just going to give Brennan and myself a chance to freshen up before these last 50 laps. Make sure you stay tuned in to Pit Stop TV. Welcome back, race fans. Just in time to catch the restart. Tyler Justice back in control. Brennan, it's your call for the restart.
Ready? Tyler Justice on the inside, Cody Spike on the outside, just like the last restart. Pace cars in, and off we go. Another good restart for Tyler Justice. Cody Spiker a little bit behind. See the lane change there after the line for Tyler. Actually, a move down to the inside now. That's going to be Anthony Colantonio, the 98. Gonna get himself about halfway past Cody Spiker here. I'm gonna brake a little early into turn 1.
And the 98 being really careful there, racing with Spiker, caution out the back. This time Corey Walters involved. It looks like maybe John Barron as well. We'll get a replay on this real quick. That's the wrong thing. Sorry about that.
Jason Alexander there. 5. No. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'll switch to the 5 then, if that's what you're saying, or that's who you're saying was in it. If I can find him.
Quite a move there, to say the least.
And, oh, yeah, he's kind of going to wash the 20 up into the 28, and then Gordon Larson Jr. just barely tags the 28 of Corey Walters. I'm not sure if that was the caution, though. That seemed a little while after the caution would have come out. I noticed Zach Lindgren was slow on this one. We'll see if he might have had something to do with it. I feel like that contact with the 00 to the 28 might have been a little, I guess, post-caution. You can see Zach was having some issues trying to get that car to work for him. A lot of damage to the 85. You know, it's tough to tell. Him slowing down might have been the reason for the yellow, but that's kind of a bizarre reason. It's tough to tell. I'm not totally certain. I mean, you would agree that that seemed kind of late, though, right?
Yeah, it didn't really seem like enough of a incident really to bring up the caution either. So I don't. Searching back through some other stuff though, can't really see anything. So.
Yeah, I see nothing else that would have even been close to warranting a yellow flag. So that must have been what it was. Maybe something else. I really don't know. It might have been something with a car slowing down with damage. I really have no clue. Under this caution, though, we're just gonna watch these guys go around. The next caution, though, that comes out, we'll go ahead and, you know, if there is a caution, we'll talk with some more drivers, at least another driver. So if you've got your pick of who you want us to talk to, go ahead and leave that in our chat, be it on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Just let us know. So as I check all of our chats, Brennan, you know, it's coming down to crunch time. Tyler Justice has looked the strongest all night, but suddenly Cody Spiker putting his name in the bag. Anthony Colantonio as well. Christopher Matthews even up there. Michael Redding now into 5th and, you know, doing what he said he would do, work his way back up to the front. Jared Rashawn in 6th. Who's your pick to win this thing with just over 40 laps to go?
My money, I have to say, still is going to be on the 7. You know, the 22 and the 98 of you mentioned have been there, but recently we really haven't had like a huge, you know, breakaway of some green flag laps here. It's been pretty short stints here, so I think Tyler, in the long run, if we still get that opportunity, he's got a really good shot at this still.
And you know what? Since you're taking Tyler, I'm going to have to go a little further back and pick an upset winner, a first-time winner of sorts. It would either be Jared Rashawn or Christopher Matthews for my pick. They've been around for a little bit now, and I think they might have what it takes to outlast the melee as these guys come to the restart. Tyler Justice waiting, and there he goes. Going to get a really good jump on the whole field. I think that was a really good restart for him. That's exactly what he needed to start this run off to the end.
Anthony in the 98 going to battle with Cody Spiker again. Make the move and get cleared that time.
Cody Spiker trying to fight back. Can't make it work just yet. He stayed out on those tires for a little while now. Those tires might just be starting to give up on the 22 car. Tyler Justice with a pretty commanding lead.
Michael Redding into the mix, actually loose as soon as I spoke about him. He's up to fourth now, battling with the 92. Be Christopher Matthews.
And while they battle, that's going to allow Jared Wishon to get into the mix. Mike Bruno starting to make a comeback as well. Bradley Wilson on the outside of him. Jimmy McKee even in the battle. As we go on board with Bradley Wilson, trying to work around some of these guys. Mike Bruno got by him. Now he's going to go to work on the 51 of Jared Wishon. Looks like the 18 not really firing off as he wants it to ever since that contact with Craig Lerman, though.
Yeah, up ahead it looks like 22 did get back around the 98 again. Back to P2.
Now Cody Spiker gets to try and chase down Tyler Justice. That's never an easy task, especially at a track like this. Phoenix International Raceway, now ISM Raceway, gets really tough to drive, as we've seen all night when you get it hot. That's why they don't race here in the summer. Quite, simply put, it's hot. It's very hot. You don't want to spend a summer in Phoenix, Arizona, just plain and simple. But if you do, you'll notice, like, we're talking temps of 120, 124 on good days. And maybe on a good day you'll get it just as a direct sunlight. Sometimes you might get it as a monsoon, and that's even worse. But, I mean, this place gets really, really slick when you get it hot. Even if it's only around 80 degrees, it gets even more loose, even more slick than some other racetracks around the U.S. So, I mean, this is really a driver's racetrack in every regard. And they're doing a pretty good job. We've seen plenty of mistakes throughout the field, a plethora of mistakes, but I think it's been a pretty decent race.
Yeah, overall, I have to agree with that statement. Obviously, the nature of the game here, a kind of loose car to begin with, and a track that's really going to promote the cars being loose, so you kind of expect a couple incidents here and there, but overall, it's been a pretty good race.
Yeah, I mean, in a race like this, super hot, or not even super hot, we'll actually take a look at the weather now that we have a chance. 78 degrees, pretty typical for a race on iRacing. Actually, that's your default temperature on iRacing, but that makes the track temp almost 89 degrees, almost 90 degrees, and that might not seem like a lot, but when you've got a slick racetrack with a bunch of rubber on it like Phoenix, with all the marbles to the outside too, all the dust on the racetrack, it gets really slick. It gets really hard to drive. So that's why these guys are having all these issues tonight. And it gets to be really, really tough.
While you're speaking there, I don't know if you had a chance to quite saw it. The 03 and the 92 both big time loose coming off of turn 2. That's going to allow Mike Bruno to get past him now for 4th. They both got pretty loose there, so they're both struggling at the moment.
Yeah, Michael Redding actually now gets by Christopher Matthews. He's going to move into the 5th position behind his teammate Mike Bruno. Going to defend actually into turn 1. Christopher Matthews going to have to wait a little bit before he can make another move on the 03. Here comes Jared Wishon trying to get into the mix. The 51 is going to go right around the 92 on the top side. Christopher Matthews now going to fight back on the bottom. It was just an early braking move from the 92. Now he's going to fight back and actually almost clear Jared Wishon out of turn 4. A heck of a corner for Matthews as he's going to take his spot back. Now here comes Mark Broderick just out of nowhere.
92 is going to push the 51 up almost to the outside wall there. Got to be careful of that. Got to be careful joining the track again here too. 51's going to dive around in there. Not quite going to be able to make it stick, I think, though.
And here's a heck of a battle just behind these guys. Bradley Wilson, Jimmy McKee. McKee just threw a slider for the ages on the 18. Made it work, but now...
the 5 almost in the back of the 8 there.
Yeah, that was pretty close into 1, but now Bradley Wilson going to fight back on the bottom side. We'll see if he throws a slider for the ages into 3. I think he might try and outbreak the 8, and he will a little bit. He's going to clear McKee, at least for now, but McKee going to have a chance to cross him over. Not going to make it work.
Really not leaving any real estate there for him to try and make a move there. Just to be safe as well. Coming off a 2 here. He with the run. Diver down the dog leg there. Doors open now. Bradley's going to cut it off. We have a caution.
Oh, it's the 5. It's the 5. Jason Alexander. We saw him just a moment ago behind the 8 and the 18, and now with a ton of damage.
He lost it in the dog leg, taking the dog leg on the apron.
We've talked about it all night long. These cars don't like to handle right, and it might not always be the best idea to go down to the bottom side. We'll see what happens to Alexander here. It may not always be the best idea to go down to the apron through the dog leg. Just gets the car sideways and immediately into the wall hard.
Bunch of pit stops. That is to be kind of expected here. That's about a little bit over the halfway point of this last stage here. So
as we look at these pit stops here, Tyler Justice, again, in your last pit stall before the exit of pit lane. Bradley Wilson just behind him. Here comes Cody Spiker. Tyler going to win the race off very easily, but here comes Mike Bruno. Actually, he might have taken second place from Cody Spiker. So a great move if he did complete that in the pit lane from Mike Bruno. So now we'll go ahead and get a talk with a driver from the field. It looks like we haven't really gotten a whole lot more suggestions to speak with. So we'll just take a look through the field a little bit. You know what? I think we're going to bring in Mark Broderick, having a really good race right now. Actually, I don't even see him in TeamSpeak. Huh. That's a new one for Broderick.
maybe bring up Ken, maybe? He had a tough break earlier. Maybe he has any thoughts on that.
You know what? That's a good idea. Let's go ahead and do it. We don't get to talk to him much. Ken Yance, this is Andy Cardinale in the Pit Stop TV booth. Do you have a copy? He may not have a copy because he is in the car still. Ken Yance, do you have a copy? All right, you're there. Well, Ken, you know, we've seen we saw you get into the lead for about a moment, and then just all-out melee happened in turns 1 and 2. What happened?
Well, you know, some people drive beyond their talent level, but it's all good, man. We're still having fun, so we're just going to finish this race, try to pick up the best one we can.
Duly noted there. I mean, the 72 was looking really good there for a while. You, like I mentioned, you got into the lead. How did you get there in the first place? How did you get yourself into that position?
Well, when I knew the stage caution was going to come out, I short pitted on that first caution right before the stage, and it put a few of us up front, and then it was just a matter of racing to it, and Spiker and I were really putting on a show, and it was fun, man. Like I said, some people just run out of talent, and that's what happened, but we're just going to make the best finish we can, and I appreciate you guys for broadcasting this. I'd like to say hi to the Barbarian Company out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. I hope they're watching. They're in the field tonight and for the next 3 weeks training to defend our country. Thank you to all our past and present servicemen and women and all the armed forces.
Sounds good. I'll get you moved back down since we're coming to the restart. Best of luck, Ken, in the rest of the race.
Thank you, sir.
And that was definitely an energetic interview, as always, from Ken Yance. They do get the race restarted. Tyler Justice off and away. Going to do battle now with Mike Bruno for the lead once more. These guys battle, it seems like, all the time at the end of these races. Who do you think has the upper hand here?
Big time sideways for Michael Redding a little bit further back. Able to keep it off the inside wall there.
He's going to hang on to the number 03 and keep going. Now he's doing battle with Jerry Glenn in the number 20.
You know, I think I'm still going to have to give it to Tyler Justice, though, as we gave them Michael Redding an opportunity to get settled back in there. You know, he's just out front all race, really putting on a pretty dominant performance, really starting to check away now. Him and Bruno from the 98 at Anthony Qualentano. So I think it'll be a battle between them for the finish as long as we go green from here.
Well, I'll tell you what, he can't hang it out sideways as he just did, or at least not as sideways as he did out of turn 4, because that was a little too much on edge, even for Tyler Justice. That was hanging it all out there with the right rear. He was definitely maximizing side force, I think, to save that thing. But a good job keeping it under control. But man, he is definitely just driving the wheels off it right now to get away from Mike Bruno, and he's doing a good job of it too.
Yeah. Gap back to Bruno at the line there was half a second, and then the 98 already to 1.1 seconds back there. So we're really starting to pull away, and really quickly at that. Come to just under 15 to go now, I believe, or 20 to go.
22 laps to go currently, coming to 21 to go. Mark Broderick finally entering the picture. He's loose out of turn 4 as well. I think these guys are more loose on the new tires than the old tires, oddly enough. But Mark Broderick finally enters the picture. He's in the top 5. Got ahead of Cody Spiker on the restart. Now he's going to try and chase down the 98 of Colantuano. I hope I'm saying that even remotely close. If not, I am so sorry. Caution out in the back. Oh, and it's Jimmy McKee, the number 8. Don't know what happened, so we'll get a replay on the event. Looks like he was battling just ahead of Michael Redding, possibly with Jared Rashawn and Matthew McMeekin. Oh, he actually got sideways into 1 there before the incident. Got into the 51 of Rashawn. Now through the dog leg. Oh, he just kind of came down right into Redding.
Yeah, I don't know on that. I mean, coming off the leg, he came down a little bit maybe, but there's still a whole lane there, I think. Redding just kind of pushed up a little bit off taking the dog leg, whereas Jimmy McKee didn't really take it too much there. Just using the apron a little bit to help him turn.
You know, I'd have to say he definitely gave him room at first. You're not wrong that he gave him plenty of room. But, you know, Redding filled the space that was open at the time. A little while after the dogleg, you'll see it here, the 8 kind of moves down. He still gave him room, but I'm not sure why he would have gone down the track.
I mean, you can cockpit view, the wheel's straight, he's not turning down. I think he got a little assistance there is what happened, him pushing down.
We'll watch it from the blimp cam. I don't know. It's tough to look. It's tough to see because a couple of camera angles are showing me that he kind of came down the track a little bit, and that angle I just had, I'd have to agree with you a bit more. We'll watch one more angle here. Again, he got into the 51 of Washawn in turns 1 and 2. Then he was battling with Nick Meekin to his inside, and then Michael came up, and I don't know. It seems like just before the contact, he kind of came down, but he could have been loose. I'll give him that much. And then just, yeah, I think it's a racing deal. I don't know any other way to call that one. Back up to the front of the field, though. Tyler Justice in control of the race. Now, you know, of course, Brennan and I are going to have differing opinions sometimes, so if you have your opinions on what we just saw there with the 03 and the 8, definitely let us know in the chat below. Leave us a comment on whose fault you think it was. Might even be able to follow up on it after the race on the NMNTS Racing Series Facebook page, so make sure you check out the NMNTS Racing Series on Facebook. A lot of new engaging posts going up on that page. And again, let us know what you think happened there between the 8 and the 03. Heck, Brennan could be right, I could be right, I don't know, so give us your opinions down below. And as we watch on from Rattlesnake Hill, Brendan, these guys have just 16 laps to go when they come back to the green flag, and you can see all of the wounded machines. The first completely clean car in the field has to be the 98. Then it would go to maybe the 22 or the 92. This is just bizarre to see so many race cars with a little bit of damage and doing so well, but you know, Phoenix isn't a totally aero-dependent track, so that definitely has to do with it. They're coming to you for the call on the restart.
Alrighty, around out turn 4 here. Pace car dives in, and Tyler Justice off right away. His teammate on the outside with another good start. 98, a little bit lagging behind. 32 is going to do battle with him on the outside there.
And there was a bit of a checkup on the bottom lane. They saw Mark Broderick with a pretty good save actually at turn 2. You don't normally see those guys save the little bobbles on top. They normally end up overcorrecting into the wall, but he held on to it. But yeah, there was a checkup on the bottom line. I don't know where that started.
Well, he just finished talking about how this track's not air dependent. Look who's in 10th place right now. That's the 28th guy, 11th now. Corey Walters. No front clip, no nose. Up to 11th.
A wreck in the back. Terry Glenn around. Oh, and Terry Mason clobbers them. I was lucky to catch that one. I heard some crunches of sheet metal in the back while you were talking, and I switched back. But yeah, we'll switch to Corey Walters for a moment, show everybody the car that he's got. And yeah, nothing on the front end, like he said, and I don't think he really even has a spoiler at this point. Behind him is Derek Robinson somehow up there, so that's a good call there. I would not have noticed that, but we'll get a replay on this caution. As something happened with the 20 of Jerry Glenn. Go back and see what happens.
Him and the 8, Jimmy McKee just fighting for real estate down the front stretch there, I think.
Sub 20 kind of got backed up out of turn 4, couldn't get back to the gas like he wanted. And then, you know, yeah, just a lot like the incident with the 89 and the 23 last night here at ISM. Just guys fighting for a position down the straightaway, got into each other, and you see the end result. Man, and poor Terry Mason. I really wanted to. Yeah, I really wanted to just express my my feels for him, I guess, as you could say. The guy has been through everything tonight, almost. I mean, he was just minding his own business when Alan Westman got into the back of the 72, and he's minding his own business here when a couple of guys wreck ahead of him in turn 2, and you know, he was minding his own business earlier when he got into the back of the 8 car to begin. So just really unfortunate for Terry Mason all night long with issues.
We had a tough break award. I'd definitely give it to him tonight.
Yeah, I think his Pringles have been crunched at this point.
Yeah.
You never want like smashed up Pringles. Like, you know when you get to the bottom of a can of Pringles and there's just all those smashed up bits? Do you ever eat those? I don't.
That's the best part.
Man, smashed Pringles, they just ruin it for me.
Just tilt the can and then go to Flavor Town,
I
guess you could say. Flavor Town.
Oh, man. It's like we're trying to... Like, I could see that actually being a town in Fortnite. Flavor Town.
Yeah,
some
probably.
restaurants in Fortnite. I could see that happening. Well, as these guys come to... I believe they'll have about 10 laps to go on the restart. They're still pacing around the speedway. Tyler Justice will be in control for the last... Hopefully, the last restart of the race. we'll do a quick race summary. We have had 13 cautions for 47, what will be, I believe, 49 laps by the time we restart here. 11 total lead changes, and it's actually been a pretty good race. Just a lot of laps led by Tyler Justice. We'll even bring up his stats in this race. We are, I believe, 138 laps in. Am I wrong?
145.
I was very wrong. Wow. 7 laps off. I'm not sure how I did that, but Tyler Justice has led 117 of those 145 laps. So
yep.
That's just insane. You'll now get to 118 here when we get to the one to the go signal here from the pace car. Just one heck of a drive from Tyler Justice, much like the drive from Jared Mogard last night. So it seems like Phoenix International Raceway, now ISM Raceway, really favors those who get on the pole. But I mean, even behind the 7 of Tyler Justice, as he's led most of this race, we've had really good battling for really the whole field. It just sometimes ends up in these wrecks because the cars are so on edge. So I mean, that's the downside of having cars that are so fun to watch as the drivers struggle with them, is you get these wrecks. It's what happens. When you go back a few years when the cars were easy to drive, yeah, green flag racing, you didn't have all these wrecks, but you know, now that's just the price you got to pay to have a lot of good battles as these guys come to you for the restart.
Alrighty, through 4 again, pace car in, and right away again, Tyler Justice and Mike Bruno on it. 98 of Anthony Gualantano, struggling a little bit. Gonna keep Mark Broderick right on his bumper there. On the outside, be 22 Cody Spiker. Not gonna do battle with the 98 as he gets a run on the inside. Almost some contact there.
Oh, it is gonna be contact.
98, no contact
More
yet.
cars
Comes
involved,
up.
a ton of cars.
Now he gets punched. Back to then. He got that thing stopped down on the apron, he would have been perfectly fine there. Unfortunately, slid back up into a bunch of cars that were already wrecking.
Yeah, a bunch of cars were wrecking on the top side to try and miss that whole wreck, and oh man, wow. I feel a bit like the IndyCar commentators from St. Petersburg right now, just, you know, at the end of the end of the race, sorry, with I believe it was Rossi and Pickett or Wickens, sorry,
yeah.
just I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really hate to see this kind of thing. I mean, 14 cautions now, but you know, you have to admit, like we've talked about all night long, is these are hard cars and a hard track to drive. So it's not just, you know, on the league at all. It's just the product of it. This is a pretty warm race for these cars in this track, so it's going to happen. You're going to have these issues. We'll try and get a slow-mo look here. It's going to be tough. The camera's a little bit jittery. But yeah, just hate to see it for these guys. And you can see just the look that these guys have ahead of them is just a spinning car, and they're trying to make room. I think Bradley kind of was trying to miss the 98 on the bottom side, and Michael was trying to get to the bottom at least as far down as he could for the corner. And just melee behind. We'll get another look, and this was initially netcode. Definitely a netcode at first, and then I think the 22 got loose. That's why you see him come back down the track. So in defense of Cody Spiker, I believe that one was just initially netcode, then he got the 22 loose, getting hit in the left front, and that's why he came back down the track. I see some comments about it. That's the only reason I'm addressing it. But yeah, just wow. hate to see it for these guys, but it is part of the situation you sometimes get with this kind of thing. I mean, you've seen it in NASCAR plenty of times where these guys just they can't go very long without cautions. I mean, cautions breed cautions, especially when you're racing for a race win or whatever position you can get. Points early on in the season matter, and when you're at a slick track with a very loose race car, it sometimes happens. So it's just it's part of it, unfortunately, to see these cars get wadded up. We never want to see it, and while a lot of it was avoidable tonight, at the same time, again, it's a product of the racing. These guys are just driving their heart out to put a show on for you and for us, and to try and get some points. So it's part of it sometimes, unfortunately. Coming out of turn 4, though, coming to 5 laps to go. Brennan, these guys are lined up for a pretty good end of this race. If we can stay green, Tyler Justice off and away. A big restart once more from the driver of the number 7.
Big checkup once again from the 32 of Mark Broderick on the restart, dropping a lot of spots there. Had the 14 Matthew McMeekin right behind him, had to check up a bunch. Obviously has to stay in his lane until the line. And 32 into the wall hard and inside through the dog leg. No caution though.
And
there it is
and that should end the show. Really unfortunate. Mark Broderick going to go around in the back. We'll see what happens. I think just going for a little too much on the restart. Tried to angle the car, maybe, I think, down to the inside line, down to the apron, and just lost control. Really unfortunate to see, but again, we ask that, you guys maybe keep your comments as nice as you can out there. Obviously, you guys have your opinions. You are totally entitled to let us know what you think. We love hearing what you guys think about the cautions that you see. So definitely let us know. But remember, these guys, they're just trying their hardest, and they don't mean to wreck. That's definitely the God's honest truth. They don't mean to have these incidents. It just sometimes it's part of it. I do see some rather upset comments, and I understand, Scott Andreas and Matt Dickerson and some others, you guys are definitely fans of the 98. But, remember, there's two sides to every story, so we'll try and contact, actually, Cody Spiker at some point, get a statement from him at some point, so stay tuned. Make sure you have the NMNTS Racing Series Facebook page liked if you're a fan of what you're seeing here, and, of course, make sure to follow us if you haven't already, Pit Stop TV on Facebook and Twitch. And PSI TV is still over on YouTube. Well, Brennan, this should end the show, unfortunately. Really hate to see it, unless the pace car lights go off when we come to the line here. I don't think we're going to get back restarted, but what are your overall thoughts on the race tonight?
Overall, it's just caution-filled night, although kind of something to be expected here. Just, really slick track and really loose cars to begin with. So, kind of sucks to see. Would have been nice to see a lot of green flag racing tonight, but it's something, unfortunately, just was in the books from the get-go on tonight. Overall, though, we're good to see Tyler Justice back in fashion. A really dominating performance for him tonight, and kind of a tough break for some of the guys there towards the end that unfortunately aren't going to make a decent finish.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys had a really good shot at a lot of really good positions. I think Cody Spiker's actually going to hang on decently. Actually, no, he ended up 14th.
He fell, yeah.
But Jared Wishon ends up with a pretty good finish. Christopher Matthews as well. Matthew McMeekin, a brand new driver to the series, ends up 6th. Kenneth Yance, you know what? Credit to Kenneth. He rebounded, and he's going to finish 8th. I mean, what the heck? It's a great comeback for him. Brandon Parsons, another name, brand new to the series, and that was in trouble early on. He's going to end up in 9th. Oh, that's honestly good to see for those two guys. They had a lot of issues earlier on, a couple of really big wrecks for them, and they're going to hang on to a pretty decent finish. Jerry Glenn, Derek Robinson right around the top 10 as well. And, I know definitely fans of the 98 out there, so we'll put the 98 on screen one more time. Unfortunately, just a tough break for him. He was doing so good in his first start. I cannot wait to see more of him next week at Fontana when we hit the 2-mile speedway in California. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this guy can do. But up in the front, as they come out of turn number 4 for the final time tonight, lap 156, Tyler Justice in the SimSpec Chevrolet is going to be your winner. His teammate Mike Bruno on his rear bumper going to give him a congratulations, really drive down the front straightaway into turn 1. Those two, they always seem to be battling at the ends of these cup races, and finally Tyler Justice able to close one of these out. Arguably, maybe should have had the wins the last 2 weeks at Atlanta and Las Vegas, but ended up just having bad luck both times. I believe one time was in turn 1 with Craig Learman at Atlanta, another was in the pit lane at Las Vegas last week. Just unfortunate issues for Tyler Justice the last couple of weeks, but a great rebound for him here at ISM, Brennan.
It definitely isn't. Just said on a little bit of a recap there. It's good to see him back in regular fashion for him, coming home race leader tonight. We mentioned that the Cup car's kind of his thing still, as we've said in previous broadcast. New aero package in the trucks, he's not really as dominant as he was before, so Cup cars are about all he has left for the NASCAR side of things, and good to see him come home with a win again.
Yeah, and after the off-season concluded and we got back to regular racing, the only things he had won were the Five Flags and New Smyrna races in the Super Series. So, kind of a short dry spell, but a dry spell nonetheless, at least for a guy like Tyler Justice. And that's all going to come to an end now. He's finally back in victory lane on a big track. Granted, I still consider it a short track, only 1 mile long, but still, a big win for Tyler to get back into mid-season fashion. And I think we're never going to see him slow down from here. He's mentioned before, he started out a little bit like this last year, where he kind of had a slow start to the season, had to find his bearings. And once he gathered his bearings, he was off to the races, and he ended up winning the Monday Night Championship and was in the battle for it with his stepfather on Tuesday nights in this series. So, just a heck of a run for Tyler to get back into it. For now, though, I think it's time to look back to the number 92, Christopher Matthews. We'll see if we can contact him. We definitely can. We'll bring him up. And Brendan, whenever you're ready, I'll let you get him.
Ready? Christopher Matthews is Brendan up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy with us?
10-4, I got a copy.
Alrighty, bud. Well, a really good start of the race for you, up in 4th at the beginning and going to come home 3rd. So overall, I'd have to say we're probably pretty happy with that.
Oh, definitely. That's one from the start. Definitely helped me out. I had to thank my HRL teammates for giving me the setup. I was really struggling up there in practice before the race, but with the help of my teammates, they definitely got me to get control of the car.
Yeah, definitely. So, explain to us kind of how that race went for you, how the car was feeling with the kind of slicker track, overall how things went for you.
Every once in a while, it would step out on you if you weren't careful. But catching up the cars, everyone had different lines going in, so you had to be careful of that. Different braking points, and whoever went through the dog leg or not through the dog leg, you have to make sure you were going to be clear, or at least you had a lane that you're going to get back into. So a lot of cautions happened because of that. But everyone else pretty much drove pretty all right. I definitely think it was a good race, even though we had that many cautions.
Yeah, definitely. Well, looking forward towards next week here. We got Auto Club up ahead, the next super speedway after a break of some 1.5 miles and then the mile-long race here at Phoenix. Any prospects on how you think you'll do there?
Well, hopefully I'm actually going to go to the real race this weekend, but hopefully I can learn some pointers from the guys that do it for real. I think I'll do well. It's one of my tracks that I think I do well in. 200+ miles per hour. It'll be fun. There'll be a lot of people using different tactics to get through the field.
Yeah, definitely. Well, give you opportunity here. Shout out any sponsors anywhere that helps you put the show on for you.
Well, I gotta thank the Air Force. That's my employer. I gotta thank my teammates, friends, family, girlfriend. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the show, week in and week out. And I'd like to thank the fans for watching, actually.
Alrighty, well, thank you for both the service and the shout out there. Andrew, have anything you'd like to add before we cut them loose?
Not much, but definitely gotta thank you, as I believe I have before, but definitely gotta thank you once more if I haven't already, for your service, Chris. We definitely all appreciate it here back home, and it's nice to have you racing when you're back home with us in the States. So, a really good run from you, a pretty good way to get the season going. How much will you be with us actually this season?
The way my schedule is working out right now, hopefully the majority of the season, I don't see anything real changing anytime soon. But you never know with this job that I do. So I try to stay competitive with you guys and try to keep up with everything. So you might be seeing a lot more of me. Hopefully I can get more interviews, get more top threes and stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds good, man, for sure. We'll be looking forward to it. Best of luck the rest of the season in that number 92 car.
Thank you, and thank you guys for putting on the race.
No problem. And actually, oh man, I cannot move him back down. If you can, Brennan, that'd be great. I am having an issue.
I'll try, yeah.
Okay. Huh. Let me try and fix something here. Everything
There we
is
go.
breaking.
I got him.
Here. There we go. I fixed it. All right. I'm sorry. I tried to do one fancy little thing with the camera, and I broke it. And I'm sorry. But next up, we'll try and get a hold of Mike Bruno in the number 19, coming home in second place. Let's try and track him down. There he is. Mike Bruno, do you have a copy?
10-4, bud. I got you.
Well, Mike, one heck of a run from you to come back from adversity. Tell us about your battle back to second place.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. That's for sure. Yeah, just hard racing there. Had a little contact, I think, with me and Clayton there. No big deal. It happens. Ended up getting spun. Got sent to the back. Fixed most of the damage. It wasn't too bad. It was like 40 seconds optional, and car still felt pretty good. So I just tried picking them off one at a time. It's easier said than done, man. It was definitely some hard racing tonight. I know we had a lot of yellows, but it was a lot of fun too. So just glad to finish where I did in one piece.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned the amount of yellows out here tonight. Tell us about the contrast, at least in a driver's mind, between good hard racing and something being on a driver. We saw plenty of wrecks. We saw plenty of examples of both sides. Tell us about I guess you getting to watch and be a part of some of these incidents tonight. What's your opinion there on the fine line?
Yeah, I mean, I know the cooler temps you get more grip, so it's it is obviously easier to drive. It just it comes down to more throttle control in these warmer temps, and you just gotta take it easier on the corner exit and corner entry. Also, you just can't be hammering the throttle, so just comes down to car control and throttle control mainly, and just being careful. But other than that, me personally, I love this warm temp stuff, but I like it either way. Warm, cold, doesn't matter. But I love slipping and sliding and having to drive the car here and there. So it was fun for me tonight for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to watch. I think it was a lot of good racing throughout the field. Albeit with the issues that we saw. But you did a pretty decent job of battling back to second place. Led 5 laps. Can't argue too much with that. Brennan, do you have anything for him before we let him go?
Yeah, almost another thing just to add. You ever get tired of getting caught behind Tyler for wins? A lot of second places for you.
Yeah, it's not. I can't say it's getting old, because he's my teammate. I like seeing him win. I've been able to get around him a few times, but man, he's just usually got my number week in and week out. So if I can get a top 3 out of it, I'm happy. I always want to get the W too, but man, it's just he's one tough guy to get around. That's for sure. He does a great job.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Well, any sponsors, anything like that you'd like to shout out? Normally have it pretty down pat. So.
Yeah, for sure. I want to thank my sponsor, SimSpec. I got them on the card tonight. John Barron, Ken Yams, those guys are awesome. Sovaga is also, got them on the truck. I want to thank my team, Michael Redding running it, MR Motorsports, Evil Outlaws, and the Gunslingers over there. And congrats to Tyler on the win, man. He did a heck of a job tonight, and it's great to see him finally get that W.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, go ahead and send you back down. Congrats again on the second place tonight, bud.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll get Mike moved back down. We'll get Tyler moved up. Tyler Justice, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got a copy.
Well, Tyler, a heck of a run from you in that number 7. Something like 120 laps led by the time the night was over. How'd you end up securing that win over your teammate Mike Bruno?
Just really staying consistent, man. I mean, it was a really slick track out there tonight. Everybody was having problems getting loose and stuff, so just all about staying consistent. And like you said, we won both stages and won the race, so that's got to be a confidence booster for us. But yeah, it was real slick out there tonight. Sometimes we have slick races, sometimes we have cooler races, and some people like the slicker races, some people like the cooler races and whatnot. But we had a lot of cautions out there tonight, and heck, a lot of them were just for people overdriving it and stuff like that, which was really bothersome to me. But it was overall it was a decent race. We'll move on from here and try to get some more wins and maybe secure a championship.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned that you're finally getting back in your mid-season form and showing that you're one to be reckoned with. You've mentioned a couple of times on Pit Stop TV so far this season that you kind of had a slow start to 2017. Could you relate the two seasons at all?
Yeah, we had some struggles at the beginning of last season, so started having those struggles again at the beginning of this season, just like last year, and it was all like deja vu. So, but glad we were able to finally break through here and get a win.
And definitely a commanding win. 129 laps led when it was all said and done. I believe you had the fastest lap. I'll check on that real quick. But just a heck of a race from you. Does this kind of set the precedent for the rest of the season? I asked Jared Mogard the same question last night. If this set the precedent for the rest of the season, is this now the standard that you have to live up to?
I mean, I hope so, man. Just I do really good on hotter tracks per se, so the cooler tracks are not my strong suit. But if we keep having races like this, I think we'll stay up at the front, and gives a lot of room for real drivability in the car, and we're able to keep it up front tonight. And it was a really fun race for me, other than all the cautions. But hopefully, like you said, hopefully we can keep this going for the rest of the season and hopefully get a championship.
Sounds good, man. Well, best of luck to you. Before I turn you over back to your team, do you have any, or Brennan, do you have anything for Tyler?
Just tell you congrats. Good to see you back in, top shape for you. It's good to see out of you. And any sponsors, anything like that you'd like to shout out?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Brendan. Yeah, I want to thank my sponsor, SimSpec, and I want to thank Ken and John as always, and I want to thank all my teammates. I want to thank Bradley for the league, and I want to thank you guys in the booth. Keep it up.
We will do just that. Great win tonight, Tyler. We'll see you next week at Fontana.
All right, appreciate it.
Again, that was your race winner, Tyler Justice, from ISM Raceway here in the BA Graphix Cup Series. Wow, what a race, Brennan. I mean, a lot of cautions, that's been duly noted. I'm not going to focus on that because that's not a good focal point for the post-race. But I think it was a decent show, a lot of really good racing. But I think the biggest thing this shows to me is, with all the battles we saw throughout the field, it kind of sets the precedent for the racing in the future. I think, granted we had all the cautions. That's something we have to, or well, not even in our position to deal with it, but the race admins might want to look at, maybe see if they can do something about it. If they can, great. If they can't, we'll see how it goes. Their options are limited too. But what I like out of this is all the good racing we saw kind of shows me that this package might be decent on the fixed setup. In the open setup races, it might not, because there's the difference in the different car setups. But these are fixed setup races. These are fixed setups, which means the cars are pretty much, they are even, which means the drivers are pretty much even. It's left up to the drivers, and we saw that tonight from Tyler Justice and Mike Bruno. We saw them command most of the race. I think it sets a good precedent for 2018 in these Cup cars. What about you?
Yeah, I think You know, we're still kind of towards the beginning of it. So far, though, so good. We saw really good racing at Las Vegas last week as well, and overall, I think the league, you know, they're handling it pretty well. Phoenix tonight, I think, just maybe a little bit of a sore spot on the schedule for these guys, but overall, I think they're doing a pretty top-notch job. So, should expect some more coming next week.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to, you know, a lot of good racing at Fontana. We'll be at Irwindale Sunday night for the Pit Stop TV Super Series here in the NMNTS, so that should be a lot of fun to watch as well. But I think the two focal points of next week will be the races at Fontana. I think those will be the most exciting. I think Fontana's always exciting with the trucks. They have all that downforce that keeps them real glued to the racetrack and keeps it a lot of fun to watch. Opens up the options for the drivers, and being hot and slick most likely for the Cup cars will be a lot of fun to watch as well. So this has been Pit Stop TV. Brennan, I gotta... Oh, wait, no. We are not done yet, are we? We have to go through the results. What am I doing? All right, we'll go through the results real quick. I'll take the top 10. Tyler Justice going to come home first. Mike Bruno second. Christopher Matthews third. Jared Rashawn fourth. Alan Westman comes home in fifth. Decent run for him. Matthew Meekin, really good start to the season so far. He comes home sixth tonight. Bradley Wilson in seventh. Kenneth Yance, a great battle back for him. And Brennan Parsons behind him in eighth and ninth. Joey Glenn hangs on for 10th.
11th place will be Derek Robinson, followed by 12th, Jimmy McKee. 13th will be Gordon Larson Jr. 14th going to Cody Spiker. 15th to Michael Redding. 16th will be Anthony Colantuno. 17th going to Corey Walters. 18th to 9th is going to be Mark Broderick. And 19th will be Trevor Harmon. And rounding out the top 20 will be John Barron.
And in 21st, we will have the 75 car of Terry Mason. What a night he had, unfortunately. He somehow hung on for 21st. Not a great finish, but, you know, good for what he had to deal with, I guess. Jason Alexander ends up 22nd. Spence Thompson 23rd. Jared Beasley comes home 24th after his wild ride. Zach Lindgren 25th. Clayton Kurtz 26th. Craig Lehrman 27th. And Joseph Andujar in 28th. Jason Burgess rounds out the field in 29th. Well, Brennan, that's finally a wrap. Sorry, just after the last two nights, we haven't really been able to have much of a post-race, it seems. So, yeah, just after the issues all weekend, got to apologize to everybody that watched. Thank you if you watched all weekend. It really means a lot to us, given the issues we had the last few nights. Yeah, just got to thank you, especially for hanging with me through it, Brennan, as much as the viewers. And also got to thank our sponsors, you know, SimSpec, PC, I can't even think right now. TN Designs, Wallcrusher Designs, BA Graphics, TJ Designs, iRafts, iRacing Drivers World. There we go. I'm just so mixed up now. Yeah, and everyone else that pours their hard work into the page. It's really meaningful to us to see this each week grow bigger and bigger. Do you have anything else, Brendan?
Not really much. Thank you out there to all the viewers that stick in week out. You really are a huge part of what makes this happen for us. Big thank you to you guys.
And with that, we'll bring the NMNTS music back in finally. Apologies for that mess of a post race. It's just been a mess of a week, Brennan, man. Anyways, thank you once more, everybody, for tuning in to Pit Stop TV. We'll try and go live tomorrow night with a brand new league. We'll leave it at that. Definitely tune in, though, if we do go live. I might have something pop up. I really hope it doesn't. I really want to get with these guys. Should be a lot of fun. Brennan, hopefully you can join me for that. If we are not live tomorrow night, make sure to tune in again on, I believe it'll be Sunday morning then, with the Virtual Oval Championship D-Class Series. That'll be the super late models at New Smyrna, I think, followed by Thompson next week. But definitely tune in to PSI TV anytime you see us go live. And that's been it from ISM Raceway with the BA Graphix Cup Series.